Hello, David Spark here. I'm in San Francisco for RoboGames, and we've got a lot of competition here. We've got the BattleBots, we've got sumo wrestling robots, and hockey playing robots, and a lot of humanoid robots too. 3 days of competition. Let's check it out.
Junior League is the league reserved specifically for the people under 18 years of age. Specifically because, you know, if you're 16, you don't have the budget to build a giant killer robot, and you probably don't have the experience or the education to build that same robot.
12 points. That bonus of 5 points.
So we have several Lego classes, and Lego has something called the Mindstorms, which is robotics versions of Lego.
It actually took me a few weeks, so it's not that hard. I got 14 points for the two-push.
That's so far third place, so.
Yeah, hopefully we'll stay in that.
And 4 points for 2-2.
If I did 4.5 seconds instead of 5, it would have made it.
Okay.
Actually, the number one most winning ability is the driver's ability to control the robot. Because basically, no matter how good your weapon is or how strong your armor is, if you can't properly position yourself against the other robot, everything else is worthless.
Weapons there, so as they have to drive it against the wall!
Let's see that again.
It's almost like life and death. When you're fighting in there, the adrenaline rush you get, because your machine can be torn apart. I mean, completely obliterated. So you're literally fighting for your life. So but you don't get all bloody. From that fight, I actually got really lucky, and he never hit us. The damage caused was my own fault. A nut came loose and jammed up my drive. It got stuck on a sprocket.
And then another time when we lost a match, the guy who beat us, who also needed a speed controller, came over and pulled the beating heart out of our robot and said, "Thanks guys," and walked away. You know, and we didn't mind. I mean, it was fine.
You won't be needing this.
Yeah.
Oh, the robot was in pieces. It was awesome.
This is the Phoenix Hexapod. It's an 18-servo walker. It has an onboard basic Atom Pro microprocessor that takes care of what's known as inverse kinematics. You can punch in an XYZ coordinate for the end actuator, and it knows exactly what angle to move each one of these. This is actually just a radio controlled receiver. It happens to look like two red eyes. It's about $950 for the complete kit. It's everything you need to get it completely remote control, and you can also set them up to autonomously navigate as well.
This is Ethel. This is a robot I just got running within the last couple weeks, actually. Basically, I wanted to build a machine that had enough power to do useful work. It's a friendly robot. It's based on combat robot technology, but I don't use it for combat. This will take out my trash, and it'll actually open the trash can, the big trash can, and throw the trash in. It is a collection of about 14 robots that I built since 1997.
Wow.
This is the 44th robot I built.
Where does one, if they want to get in robotics, pick up parts?
You know, amazingly enough, if you shop properly at your local hardware stores, you can get tanks, metal, you can get the radio. I can also control it manually with the joystick using telepresence, where you see, by watching television, you're not even around the robot, it's somewhere else. There's two cameras, there's one on the front and one on the back, and they pan and tilt, so you can turn and look around.
In the movie Revenge of the Nerds, isn't that how they got the girls, was having an adorable, cute robot?
It hasn't seemed to work out quite that well.
No.
Unless you know some of the ladies like I do that work in the welding shop. And then you meet quite a few of them.
The inspiration was if you had a sideshow carnival in the 30s and you just like had a bunch of guys who were tinkerers, Okies who knew how to build stuff, what would they build as sort of a sideshow ride or maybe something to show off?
This snail is street legal, correct?
Yeah.
There's no seatbelts. I've
Oh,
noticed.
there's seatbelts.
Oh, you do have seatbelts?
Oh, yeah.
All right, here, let me snap in here.
Or we did a show in Amsterdam. We did it as a industrial mechanical robotic arts through SRL. Okay. And once we got over there, we were like, wow, there's a lot more theater in the robotics over there.
So is this part of like the steampunk movement?
No. Steampunk is very Victorian, upper crust, hooty tooty, white collar. We're blue collar. This is grease monkey. This is oil punk.
There we go.
And the horn.
All right, so which one of these switches here is the tail lights?
They're actually here, so you can turn on the tail lights there and.
High beam. Low beam.
Humanoids.
What actual functional jobs have you gotten your robotics to do?
Right now, since they're so small, they can't do a lot of things that a regular person can do, but it can pick up a small vacuum cleaner and push it around the room. Similar robots can push a lawnmower that's of small size. So anything that a small child might be able to do, this robot has the capability of doing.
Generally, a robot is something that's aware of its environment and can act on the environment by itself. These guys are only partially aware of their environment, but they can act on their environment. And the difference between them and a remote control car is in a remote control car, you'd push one stick and it would move one servo, proportional amount of distance. This guy, I move one stick or push one button and it sets off a chain of events. And I can interrupt those and tell it to do something else, or it could sense something in its environment and act upon it. There's actually an inertial sensor in this that helps him to balance and steer. Right, so as I'm driving him forward, I can turn him. I can do the same backwards. It's really very complex. Actually, when I push a button, a whole series of things take place. So if he's down on his back, I have one button to push for him to get up off of his back. Right. So basically, I just tell him, get up from your back, and he takes care of that. If he's down on his face, same type of thing, another button, tell him to get up from his face, he does.
I'm David Spark at RoboGames in San Francisco. Thanks so much for joining us.